Okay, today is April 14th, for April 19th, 2022. And today's experiment is going to be two resistors in parallel. Okay? So what you're going to need here. Let's go ahead and get the stuff that we need, right? So equipment, one, power supply, power cable. Okay, you're going to need digital multimeter. You're going to need a proto board. Everything is right in here, and two two banana two cables, two cables with banana, two red cables, okay? Red cables with banana termination. And two black cables with banana termination. Let's see, two resistors. So you can come by and pick it up. Don't forget, yeah, 7 items here. Go ahead, and you're also going to need two alligator clips. Start with two alligator clips, and if you need more, pick it up later on. You're not going to need more than that. Power supply, red cable to the red terminal, to the red jack. Connect one resistor, R1. Wait a minute. Cable to resistor 1, and then you close the circuit. Right now you have just one resistor in your circuit. And then you're going to add resistor 2. You're going to use the proto board to get those two resistors in parallel. Okay? Gonna use the proto board to get those two resistors in parallel. Okay, once you measure the resistors, the resistance value, log their value right here in the spreadsheet, R1 and R2. R1 and R2. Put this circuit together, right? Multimeter. Okay, here you go. Here's a different type of multimeter. You're gonna measure the voltage. Okay, here you go. You're gonna measure the voltage being supplied to the circuit by connecting your multimeter in parallel. Once you connect the multimeter in parallel, you're going to, remember, it's in parallel with R1. You're going to log the voltage values. I call that V1 right in here. Set your power supply to 10 volts and measure V1. Then set your power supply to 8 volts, measure V1, and so on. In order to get the negative voltage, all you have to do is switch the cables in the power supply. Okay, so here you go. I switched the cable right in here. The red that was here, now it's here. Right? Take a look what I did. You can either do that or switch right this end here. Either way works. Okay, so now you're going to connect the multimeter in parallel with the R2. Okay, you can either do this way, but I recommend you do this way here. Right? So you save on the alligator clips. Put the power and the multimeter in parallel with the R2. So you save, like I said, on the alligator clips. And you repeat, right? For 10, 8, 6, 4, right? It's not going to be exactly 2 volts. The power supply doesn't go to 2 volts. It goes to 2.8, 2.7. So this measurement here should be the same as this measurement here. Okay? If you're getting anything different, that's because you're making a mistake there. You're making a mistake. Remember, those two resistors are in parallel. So once you're done with R2, right, let's, don't forget to get the negative as well, right? Here you go. To picture it better, I'm going to put that right in here. And then we go for the V total. How do we get the V total? Just connect the multimeter directly to the black and red of the power supply. That's what I call the V total. Get the negative values, and V total are written down right in here. All those three values must be very close to one another because the resistors are in parallel. Now that you're done measuring the voltage V1, V2, and V total, we are going to measure the current. There are three currents that we have to measure. The current exiting the battery, the current entering the resistor number 1, and the current entering the resistor number 2. We're going to start with this one. Remember, measuring the current is the most difficult part of the experiment, right? So you start from scratch. Take everything apart. You start from scratch. Take out all the cables and start just the power supply and the multimeter. So, red cable, red cable from the power supply, go to the yellow. Go to your yellow connector in your multimeter. Okay. Then the black cable connects to the black jack of your power supply. That goes to the resistors in parallel. And then you close the circuit. I'm going to redraw there in the board. Wait a minute. What's that? Do you have a problem there? Yeah. Okay, I total is the easiest one that you're going to measure for the current. Now let's move on to I1. So here you go. How do you do for I1? You start from scratch again. Power supply. Get the digital multimeter there. Connect the red, well, the red to the yellow. In your case, it's the yellow. Okay. The black to resistor 1. Okay, and then you close the circuit. That's the easiest way of doing this thing. Okay, then you gotta insert the R1, the R2. Where do we insert the R2? We insert the R2 right in here, either in the power supply or in the yellow of the multimeter. Okay, here you go, R2, and then you close the circuit. Do you see the difference? Okay, there is a big difference between what you have here and what you had for the iTotal. For the iTotal, let's see how I can get that for you. Okay, for the iTotal, okay, this guy here is connected right in here. See the difference? For the iTotal, the R2 is connected right in here. For the I1, the R2 is connected directly to the power supply. So the multimeter, it's not in the path of the R2. The multimeter is in the path of the R1. Okay? I'm going to draw there in the board as well. And that's what you're going to, here you go, you're going to be working on I1. Okay, for the last circuit, all you have to do is to swap R1 with R2. Here you go. Here you go. R2 and R1. You can also do from scratch, right? You can also do that from scratch, just like I did. Here you go. Power supply, multimeter, right? Connect the multimeter to the R2 and close the circuit. And then you insert the R1 in the right place, just like you did for the R2. Here you go. Before. Here you go. You insert the R1 directly connected to the yellow of the multimeter. That's another way of doing that. This one is more work, but is a good exercise for you who are learning how to put circuits together. So, here you go. I2. Okay.